Lasers, hey, they're all over the place. They're perfectly legal, but can use of a laser ever wind up with somebody going to prison? Well, that takes us to this week's case. It involves a real man, Jordan Rogers, resident of Kansas City, Missouri. Hey, and Jordan was in his backyard one day, had a laser with him, and a helicopter was flying over. Pointed the laser at the helicopter, and lo and behold, he was then charged with violating a federal statute. Federal statute that prohibits people anywhere in the United States from shining lasers at aircraft. Obviously, a helicopter is an aircraft. Well, he was charged and he was prosecuted by the U.S. Attorney's Office. And the case went forward. Eventually, he said, you know, yeah, I had the laser. Yeah, I did point it at the aircraft. Yeah, okay, fine. So he agreed to do a plea bargain and wanted to find out, well, what are you guys looking for here? And the federal prosecutor said, we're asking the judge to have you thrown in prison for 4 years. 4 years. He said, really? Wait a second, you know, it wasn't a big deal, I didn't think. Well, through his public defender argued, you know, he didn't view it as a really big deal, and this wasn't a situation where it was a premeditated effort to try and damage an aircraft or to try and distract by distracting the pilot, obviously. And I mean, it's not like he went to an airport and was standing outside the runway and starting to flash lasers at aircraft. No, it was just one of these things that happened in a residential area in his own backyard. Come on, give him a break. Well, the judge gave him a break of all of 1 year, sentenced him to 3 years in prison. 3 years in prison. Okay. So what do we learn from this case? We learn a very important thing, and that is there is a federal law against shining lasers at aircraft. Federal law is a relatively stern federal law that provides that doing that is a felony, punishable for up to 5 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. Now, various states also have laws against shining lasers at aircraft, and they vary all over the ballpark. But it's the federal law that most people look to, and it's one that many people aren't aware of. And aren't aware of it because lasers, as I say, are readily available. They're completely legal, with the exception of some states don't allow high-power lasers to be purchased by kids, people under 18. But basically, lasers are out there. You can get them, you can buy them at Radio Shack or any place else, and you can go about and use them for teaching, making a presentation, or various other things, but do not point them at aircraft. Okay, we bring you this case, and we bring you cases every week so you know how the law works. I'm David Allen.